Hi, we're going to briefly discuss the MS3 Ultrasound Curriculum, which is a relatively new addition to CMSRU that's been there for now the past 3 or 4 years. First and foremost, you guys may remember me. I've hopefully at this point become a familiar face to most of you, given that I've been at most of your teaching sessions for M1 and M2 year. My name is Sodhi. I run the Ultrasound Curriculum at the medical school. First update for this coming academic year is that Dr. Valina will be joining us as the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Ultrasound. She will be helping to create and manage this curriculum. So what we're doing here is a little unique, so we're going to try to talk about that, make sure you have an understanding of what that is and how it works, and then how best to implement it. So essentially, every 4 to 6 Fridays you'll be coming in, and from 1:30 to 4, you'll be going through multiple high-fidelity simulation stations, SP stations, etc. And you'll be getting expertise from point-of-care faculty with a whole bunch of whose background. So some of our faculty are emergency medicine boarders, some of them have done beyond that sort of a point-of-care ultrasound fellowship and have further training in that. We have a new PEM focus person who's joining us. We have a couple of radiologists who do a bunch of teaching for us. And then we have a series of intensivists who do a fair amount of teaching for us. So the curriculum starts off with a session you'll be doing shortly in the next couple of weeks with ultrasound IV placement. It's a critically important skill. You guys have already learned it once. You'll be covering it a few more times before you graduate so that you're as prepared as you can be to put this in our patients. And as someone who's had it done on me a few times for teaching purposes, I can tell you that it's not terrible. The curriculum is designed around a flipped classroom, so you will come in having watched a video lecture. It'll be sent to you with a series of links at the beginning of the year for you to watch. Please watch it before arriving, because the idea is that then when you're in classroom, we're not wasting a minute of your time. So curriculum will sort of have an entire playlist on YouTube. You'll be sent the link. So if you've watched that session before coming in, when you check in, you'll be directed to start in one of 3 rooms, and then you rotate through all 3. So the first room is a standardized patient room. You've done this before in M1 and M2 year. You have a faculty member at the bedside, usually usually a board-certified faculty member in one of the various subspecialties, sometimes a resident or a particularly capable teacher. They will direct you in how best to do the studies you're learning how to do there in that day. And they'll give you directed hands-on feedback, which, is wonderful. It's in a smaller group session. Group sizes vary depending on the day, but we keep them very small to ensure that everyone has lots of hands-on time. In the next room, we move on to high-fidelity simulation. So we have this mannequin, a series of mannequins, that let the faculty member load up whatever pathology they're looking to show you on the laptop, and then you get to do the study to figure out what's going on with the case itself. And you get to make the diagnosis and try to figure out what the next best steps are. There's the option of turning on augmented reality mode to sort of give you this additional piece of data, so you can look and see what the anatomy looks like in 3 dimensions. Finally, the third station rotates. So one of the choices in that station is you come in and do medical decision making with me or one of my colleagues, where we basically talk through how best to think about the case and where ultrasound plugs into it. We talk about numerous things, including some relatively boring topics like statistics, but with the goal of ensuring that you're thinking about it from truly how to best apply all of the knowledge you've gained in the last couple of years to the patient in front of you and how best to figure out what's going on with them. If we don't do that session, which we do part of the year, the other session you might do is procedure lab, learning how to do various procedures under faculty guidance, or you might get to do potentially the chest x-ray session with Dr. Germain. So essentially, as we discussed, you'll be rotating through these sessions every 4 to 6 weeks. Depending on when you have holidays, etc. And over the course of that curriculum, you're going to cover numerous things. You're going to cover point-of-care cardiac ultrasound, lung ultrasound. You're going to cover how to do biliary ultrasound, pregnancy ultrasound, renal ultrasound, FAST exams, aortic ultrasound, vascular ultrasound, MSK ultrasound, all of the above. And the goal by the end of this curriculum is to give you a very well-rounded depth of an education into ensuring that you have a good handle on all of this point-of-care ultrasound and how best it could apply to your future practice. So a couple of frequently asked questions. First and foremost, we will be taking attendance. As you can imagine, this is a faculty-intensive curriculum, given that we have, on average 5 to 6 teachers in the building whose sole purpose is there to ensure that you get an excellent education out of it. It is a required part of the curriculum, so you are required to be signed in. We've had some issues with how the sign-ins have happened, so from now onwards, a faculty member at the Sim Center will be checking your ID as you sign in and checking you off. That leads straight into the absence policy. You are required to attend all these sessions. If you're not able to attend them for a school-approved reason, which will be handled through the usual absence policy processes, then you will reach out and we will figure out what alternatives exist for you. Finally, there is an OSCE at the end of the year. The ultrasound OSCE will cover all the things you've covered over your sessions over the year, and as fair warning, at the very beginning of the year, we're letting you know that it does exist. We've generally had pretty good feedback about this, and it has been well received by the students who've taken it in years before. If you have any questions, this is my email. I look forward to seeing you shortly. Thanks.